Hello, everybody. Got on here a couple minutes early just to let everybody get a chance to get the notification. We'll be starting in a couple minutes. Welcome, welcome. I am on audio. I just saw that this was an option, so it's kind of cool. It's like a podcast. However, I can still see your comments. So if you're coming in and as I'm talking, if you have questions, please put them in the chat box so that I can answer them as we go. Welcome. Come on in if you're just in. Just started a minute early just to let people get in here and get the notification. And we'll start in about a minute. But again, pretty cool, this audio live. I didn't know they even offered that, but they do. So thought we'd test that out today. See how well it goes. I was going to go video, but let's try this. Again, if you're just coming in, I am going to start in about a minute. Just want to give everybody a chance to kind of get in here, trickle on in, get that notification going. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope that Monday ended up pretty good. About another minute. Let a couple people get on real quick. Fiona, Miranda, Brittany, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is AJ Craft. For those of you who don't know, I am a marketing and content strategist. And I thought what I do, since most of you probably won't know me right off, I'll just tell you just a little bit about myself and then we'll get started. I am a copywriter and marketing consultant. I got my start in writing actually about, good Lord, it's 18 years now in the Marine Corps as a combat correspondent. And that's kind of what sparked up the interest in writing. And from there, I got into freelance writing, and that took me into book writing. And so I've been a ghostwriter and a copywriter for businesses who want to have their copy sell for them. I specialized in persuasive copy, which convinces you to buy product. And up until recently, I've been working with copywriting clients, writing their copy for them, until I realized, I mean, it's been ongoing in my head, but I just hit a wall and said, no more. My business is going to start to look the way I want it to, and no more fear. We're just going to do it. And what I really have been wanting to do for a while is to help crafters, because I'm a crafter myself, help crafters market their own business, and teach them the marketing strategies that mainstream companies are using right now to make a lot of money. And I feel like in the crafting section, we're kind of left out behind the eight ball of still trying to figure out craft fairs and flea markets as, the only way to sell our wares. And what I realized that the marketing experience I have can be applied to crafting, and you can actually make money with this if you do it smart and strategically, like I want to show you. Everything changed. So here I am, and I want to start doing that. I want to start serving and giving to the community, because I think there's a life-changing opportunity combined with your own creativity. So let's kind of get started on that. And what I wanted to talk about today was how to find customers, how to find like hot leads, your ideal clients, your ideal customers, and why everyone is not your customer. And so again, if you have questions as we go on, please put them in the chat box. I'll answer them. I'll try to answer them as we go. So what I mean by everyone is not your customer is that I know that when I've spent years like crafting, and I always had like, I wonder if anybody would buy this. And so you go through the roller coaster of emotions of like getting excited and trying to see if it'll sell and putting it out there. And anybody who's interested, you let walk on up and, take a look at what you've got. And And then you get frustrated because it's just not really hitting with anybody in particular. And it's just kind of like, I don't know what to do. So when you're trying to appeal to everybody, when you're opening the gates wide to anybody who will listen and come to you, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. You're not actually serving anybody. And the reason I say that is because there is no option when you're trying to sell to everybody, there's no option but to be general in your message. Like you're trying to cover everybody, so you speak generally. And that is a major no-no, because you're not really speaking to anybody in particular. You're not connecting with anybody. You're not getting to their reason for wanting to buy or who they are or hitting them on a personal level. So when you understand that you need to narrow your market to a specific type of person, you start serving them better. You can start speaking to them in a more specific way rather than generalities. Okay. So the great news is that this misconception about, oh, my market's saturated, or, oh, too many people sell, around me are selling, is a myth. It's a belief system that has entered your head for whatever reason that can, quite frankly, exit just the way it came, because it isn't true. You just have to know who you're targeting. And then all of a sudden, once you do, the skies open up and it rains down. And I'm telling you, it's so much easier, and selling becomes exciting once you have kind of the key to understanding how that works. The other thing that people, when we start talking about narrowing down, what people start to do is they get afraid. They fear that they are excluding a lot of people. They think that they're cutting out the opportunity for sales in other people. And I know that it sounds counterintuitive, but that's actually, the opposite is actually true. Again, when you can speak to a specific audience and you know what their pain points are and you know what they need, you can really connect with them. It's impossible for you to appeal to a wide audience in all things and connect as powerfully as you could if you narrow it down. Now, I'm not saying that forevermore, for the rest of your life, you can only serve one people. You can have several different, what I call, campaigns that target only one person, one type of person or profession or whatever that target customer is. But don't try to do it all at once. Okay? Try to separate these. That's why I call them campaigns, because I take one campaign and maybe this month, I'm going to talk to this specific group of people. And the next month, maybe I'll shift slightly to another group of people. But it allows me to be able to speak to their pain points and help them and serve them. So tell me if that makes sense in those comments. Let me know if that's making sense to you. Welcome to those that are coming on. Lulu, Nicole, welcome. So again, we're talking about narrowing down your audience and understanding that by doing that, you're not cutting your nose off to spite your face. You're not cutting out possible sales. In fact, the opposite is true. You are able to attract more people when your message is very clear about who you serve. Now, we're talking about tumblers here. So, what type of industries, just off, do you think, based on what we just talked about, you could appeal to? See if you can put it in the comments. Just give me one. No wrong answer. Just give me one. Or who of you are already targeting a particular audience? Is anybody? Or are you just kind of putting it out there and anybody who wants to buy it can get it? Anybody? All right, I'll keep going. Okay. There's something called a customer awareness scale that I want to share with you. And that means that it's a scale. It's kind of like from least to greatest. And it goes from a customer. This is like Eugene Schwartz's levels of awareness for the customer. So each of us are on this scale at some point, depending on what we're talking about. So it goes from right to left, which is unaware. So from unaware to problem aware to solution aware to product aware to most aware. And so what that means is that if you are a customer, if you have a customer who's unaware, that means that they don't know they have a problem worth solving, okay? Let's put this in the tumbler world perspective. They don't know that they need your product. They don't have any clue. So they're completely unaware as to tumblers, your product, anything, or solution that a tumbler might be able to solve. Okay, then you have a problem aware, which means they sense they have a problem, but they don't know there's a solution. Okay? Then we move on to solution aware, which means they know the results they want, but they don't know that your product provides it. And after that, we go to product aware, which means they know what you sell, but they aren't sure that it's right for them. And then from there, it's most aware, which means these are the repeat buyers, they're the loyal customers, they know you, they bought from you, they refer you to their friends. Okay, so based on that, where do you think most of your customers are? Okay. Ooh, I'm going in and out here with the internet. I apologize. 45 here. Okay. We like target the fitness industry. Okay, great, Tracy. Good example. All right. So once you understand where your customers are on the scale, you can target them better by how to talk to them. And what I mean is, like, some of you have customers who are repeat customers. They're the most aware. They know they like tumblers. They bought from you repeatedly, and they refer your name out to other people. So they're the most aware. And then you have people, of course, a lot of people who have never heard of you or don't even buy tumblers, and they haven't even entertained the thought of, how that might help them. What you're going to want to do is you're going to make a list in your research of why these tumblers are useful for people. What problems do they solve? And I guarantee you, it may just be a cup, so to speak, but it can be used to solve very significant problems. And I'll tell you, one of the things that is most significant for people is identity. They want to be able to self-identify or reinforce their identity through wearing swag, like t-shirts, like sports teams, sports teams, military, that whole thing. People love identifying with something, a cause greater than themselves, or something they identify with like that. So that's why the sports team merchandise and all of that is so popular. This is no different. So in essence, you are solving the problem of reinforcing their identity by giving them an option to have that identity with them, so that other people are asking them. It's conversation starters. If you're in the military, like I was a military veteran, so Marine Corps swag is my thing. And if I'm carrying around a tumbler that has a personalized, Marine Corps emblem or has my name on it, it's a conversation starter. All of a sudden, your product is marketing for you. All of a sudden, people are interested in starting a conversation with that person holding it, which reinforces their own identity, makes them feel good, gives them the dopamine fix they need, and lets them it reinforce, all of a sudden they want another one, or they want one for, a different thing, a different cause. Some of these things are subtle and psychological, but they absolutely work. So understanding that, no, you don't just sell tumblers, you sell somebody a reinforcement of their identity that allows them to start conversations, to reflect on the things they're proud about in their life. That's the way you want to start looking at your products. It's not what the product is or the feature, it's how the product makes your customer feel, or the benefit. So that's really, really important. So going back to these levels of awareness, for each one, there's a certain type of lead that you want to lead with. And when I say lead, I'm talking about when you're advertising your tumblers and like you're posting or you're trying to market them. So often, many of us, for lack of knowing what to do, we just put it out. Hey, I have this tumbler if you want to buy it. And nothing in that inspires hope or identity or, curiosity or mystery or anything interesting. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to talk about this in a way that gives you that mystery, gives you that curiosity to want to know more, that interrupts their brain pattern to get them to stop scrolling through Facebook and go back up and see what you're talking about. Now, the tumbler itself, as a photo on there, will do a great job of that. But you want the copy, if you're trying to sell it, you want to be able to sell it and put it in the best light possible. So you're going to want to talk about it in a way that attracts them based on where they are in that customer awareness scale. Okay, so let's take, for example, nurses and doctors. Well, those are pretty good people to target because they have schedules that keep them up late at night, probably drink a lot of coffee. They're proud of their job profession and what they do. And hey, they'd love the opportunity to share that with anybody who might see a personalized tumbler of theirs, if they're not at the hospital, if they're around other places, another conversation starter. So they have a problem. They need a tumbler because they need that coffee. Tumbler is less expensive to refill than buying coffee. And it also reaffirms their identity and what they're proud in. Okay? So you would talk about the benefits, kind of like I just did. You would talk about the benefits of having a tumbler like the one you're selling. And the reason how, why it would benefit their life. Not just the feature, not that just 30 ounce or 20 ounce, but that it allows them to reflect the superstar they are. It allows them to represent a career that they love. Make it personal to your customers. Give them a reason to buy and a compelling reason for them to buy from you. I really advocate when you're talking about products especially, give these products a personality, name them, describe them in terms of, if it's a series of tumblers that reflect a different personality of a career woman, describe what that career woman does, who she is, what she looks like, what she will tolerate and what she won't tolerate. Throw in some sass, some fieriness. Make it interesting and fun to sell these. Because I know that, if you don't know how to sell, it's not fun at all. But there is no rule that says you have to stay on the line of the status quo with everybody else trying to do the same thing. You shouldn't. You're going to blend in. And especially if you're worried about a lot of competition from other people selling tumblers, the only thing that's going to stand out for you and the other people who, if a customer's sitting there and there's several vendors side by side and they're all selling tumblers and they all look great, what's going to stand out for them? What's going to draw them to your booth and make the difference? It's going to be a story. It's going to be a personality. It's going to be your personality. So, I highly encourage, it's always a good idea to learn how to write these product descriptions, to learn how to put some fun into the selling part. It doesn't have to be boring and fearful. It can be anything you want it to be. But it is going to be the lifeline for you selling versus not selling. If that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense for you. Okay, so I want to run through real quick. So if a customer is unaware, you're going to tell stories and secrets. That's going to gain their attention. That's the kind of, if you were posting, again, you're trying to sell. And you're trying to sell to a market that you haven't sold to before, nobody really knows you. You're going to start out telling stories. Yes, include that tumbler on that post, but tell a story about it. Get them intrigued. The biggest thing is make this about them. Use more of the word you instead of I in any of these posts. They don't care about you or I. We are all in it for ourselves. We want to know how it's going to benefit us. So give that to them. Okay? So whatever you do, whichever kind of post you do, make sure that it's about them. All right. So then from unaware to problem aware, okay, when they know there's a problem, but they don't know that there's a solution, you're going to focus on giving them the benefits and showing out the anxieties that they have by not having this product. Okay? And then from there, you're going to go to solution aware. Oh, Bethany. Ooh, wait. I don't fit in because I don't do the popular tumblers. Afraid of the trademarks. Okay, I love that you just said this because I've seen this several times in groups over this past week about trademarks. And that seems to be a really big concern. Trademark infringement and Disney. And are you going to, can you use Disney? Can you not? Listen, that is not the make or break of your business by any means. You do not have to follow the trademarks, the popular Tumblr. And I'm going to tell you that I think what sells even more than that is more personalized tumblers. Again, reflecting their own identity. So if you could do a combination of maybe if there's a sports team and you could do maybe the colors, but you could offer to do some kind of crest that is original to them, something that reflects their personality or identity. And that kind of comes from talking to your customer as well. In future live streams this week, one of them I want to talk about is how you can charge $100 for a tumbler and make it completely worth it. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm going to show you why I'm telling you that you can do that. And it's all around getting to know that customer and getting to know exactly what digs in the heart. It goes right back to knowing who your ideal customer is on a deep level and how you can bring out their personality to reflect in that tumbler. But I will talk more into that this week. So no, you're not required to do the popular tumblers. You can do your own version that will actually yield you a higher profit margin and a better result. Okay, so back to solution aware, from problem aware to solution aware. That means that they know there's a problem, they know a solution exists, they're just not sure it's that you have it. You're going to talk about claims and proof. This is the period where they have to be convinced that you know what you're talking about, you're the expert, and that other people have bought from you and loved your product. So testimonials are a really great one. And I'm going to tell you, if you have testimonials, they're like gold. You need to hold on to them. You need to screenshot them. You can use them over and over again for different marketing. If you have a website, you can use them constantly in your copy. Even if you're doing a Facebook post, in the bottom of your post, you can put in quotes, a testimonial that you've received. So they are absolutely gold because people just naturally, psychologically feel more comfortable when they know that other people have tried and succeeded with your product. So if you haven't already, start collecting those testimonials. Keep them in a separate document and just keep anytime, private message, anything you see anywhere, okay? So from there, from solution aware to product aware, now they know a problem exists and a solution exists. Now they're aware of your product. Okay. Now, what they really want to know is about your discounts and deals. So if you are targeting a customer who's already aware of your products, they know the value, they've experienced it, you want to concentrate on the discounts and deals that you offer. And I really would recommend that you do a irresistible offer, which I'm also going to talk about this week, to give them above and beyond without breaking the bank for you. There are several things you can do in this world of tumblers that don't require you to make more tumblers for each order or just to give over and above the value. And we'll talk about that. And then the last one is most aware, which is the most direct type of lead. They're the raving fans. They're the ones who have bought from you and refer other people. They really just want to know the product and price. They want to know, what's new. They want to see the pretty new version that you've come out with, and they want the product and price. So what we kind of want to be is in the product/solution aware area where they're aware that a problem exists. They have bought tumblers from people, maybe you, but maybe somebody else, but they're just looking for a better vehicle or a better product, which would be your product. Okay. So you want to kind of find people who already, there's nothing worse than trying to climb uphill a mountain of educating somebody about a product before you try to sell them. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time marketing to people who aren't aware of tumblers and what they do and what they are, or, and trying to make them fall in love with it before you try to sell them. Don't do that. Don't do that. Keep your focus on people who already know by having already purchased tumblers that they like them and that they might even be collectors, that they just love the creativity that you offer, and then sell them a better version or a more in a line version of a tumbler that reflects who they are. If that makes sense. Okay. And I will tell you that there are hundreds of markets out there where you're going to find a very small section within each of those markets that are a hot lead, like a hot sub-market within those markets. So again, like doctors and nurses, there might be a very specific kind of doctor or nurse that is even more lucrative, like residents, those who are doing the rounds and have the crappy hours and all of that. That might be something. You also may have lawyers or a specific type of lawyer. Law enforcement also has odd hours, things where people need coffee. Those are just a couple ideas off the top of my head. Does this make sense? Does anybody have any questions so far kind of about what I've gone over? Let me know. Put them in the box. Put them in the chat. If you think of them later, of course, go ahead and leave them in there afterwards, and I'll try to reply after the live is over. But I'm hoping this is making sense. Looking at this from a business perspective in an organized kind of way kind of helps clear out the fogginess of feeling like, oh my gosh, where do I start? Or the overwhelm of like, holy crap, there's a whole wide world out there. Who am I supposed to sell to? It doesn't waste your time. It doesn't get you overwhelmed and stopping before you even started once you start thinking of it in these terms. Any questions? All right, so reviewing, understanding. Hi, Chris. Understanding where your customers are or where you want your customers to be. In other words, who you go after, and understanding the qualifications of that. Being in that product aware, solution aware area. I want you to brainstorm these ideas, like these niche ideas. Like I gave you doctors and nurses and lawyers as a couple. Start brainstorming something else. See who needs these tumblers more than other people. That's the other thing. There is a certain amount of urgency with some groups than others. Okay? And what comes to my mind is wedding parties. I'm sure some of you are doing that now, but understand the urgency that's needed to find bridesmaids gifts or groomsmen gifts. That's an urgency, and that's somebody with a budget, typically who has budgeted for that expense. They need you. They need you to provide a memorable set of tumblers. Okay, Bethany, I put my tumblers on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter with no response, a lot of likes and love. Okay, yeah. Have you put any descriptions in there? I mean, again, marketing is going to be a lot more than just putting them up on there and hoping that people look at them. You really have to do your homework and figuring out who you want to sell to, and then who are they? What is their pain? Why do they need it? Don't ever think that they're going to do the work for figuring that out on their own. It's your job as a business owner to figure out why they need it and to compel them in understanding and spelling it out for them. This is why you need it. This is going to alleviate so many issues in your life. And don't ever think that the problems like, oh, we're just talking about tumblers, that's it. How many of us have these annoying things that happen to us every day, and we would love a solution just to make our life easier? I mean, they can be little teeny things that we deal with every single day, day in and day out. And if we had a resolution to that, sometimes that's more relief than the bigger problems because they're just so constant. So don't discount the value that your tumblers have for people. And the psychological effect, actually, that they have as well. I take a tumbler to work with me every day. I haven't drank coffee a day in my life. I like my unsweet tea and my ice. I'm very attached to my tumblers. They're not even decorated yet. But people love routine. And people who are in the routine of having something in their hand every day, all you have to do is tap into that and get personalized with them and creative, in which they will now they have a reinforced reason on top of their habit to take that with them every single day. Any questions? Again, this whole week, I'm going to be sharing with you different strategies that you can use Facebook. You can use these free avenues. It's called attraction marketing, without having to pay for ads, to gravitate, like to attract people to you without you having to pay expensive ads, that sort of thing. I always like, if I can, to find the free relationship building ways so that people understand that you're here to help and serve them, not just take money from them, or that you're not blending in as just another vendor. That, the key to this is to build these relationships. And, the word build sounds like it's going to take a long time, and really it isn't. You just want to show them that you have a solution and you're here to serve first. And that is one other thing that I will tell you, is that you have to come to this business from a heart of service, from a heart of truly brainstorming how you can help people rather than how much money you can make, because the money will always follow that. But if your mind gets caught up in, I need to make this much money to make these bills, it's not going to happen. It's just not. There's no inspiration or hope in that. But helping other people, we know, always makes us feel better, always comes back 100-fold on us. So leading from a place of service and really digging into understanding who your customer is and what they need, how you can serve them, is the first place you want to start. So if you're so inclined to do homework, I do encourage you to make a brainstorming list of industries and people on your customer awareness list. Try to be in the product solution aware, where they know that tumblers exist. They've been buying them. They haven't really found one that just resonates, that they adore and love, and it's become their new wubby. You want to take that spot for them. And then, of course, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the bottom. I'm working on putting all this in a book, and I'm going to try to have it published by the end of this week. And then a course that goes into even more detail, where we get on the phone and we talk about specifically your business and set you up into a specific 30-day marketing strategy. So I'll have that, more details about that later on. But I just want to come on here and share some of that information. And are there any other questions? Any questions before we go? I hope this was helpful. Was it helpful? Was it helpful? I think there's a delay on the comments. All right, well, let me know later if it's helpful and if you have any other questions. And I don't know. Also, what do you think about this audio versus video? I think I'll probably do a combination of both. It's interesting. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for showing up. I will talk to you again tomorrow. And we will go from there. Have a great evening. Happy tumbling. We'll talk to you soon.